Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what we're going to do is try again with corn. Alright, so in the past I've planted it much later in the season. The soil hasn't been as good. Reason, excuse, but bottom line is that we had trouble trying to grow corn. So some of the things I did. One, I let the weeds grow here all year round. Alright. Pretty much all of last year. All right, so that has left me with some nice, dark, moist soil. Then I took a wheelbarrow full of compost and I added it in to the soil, and I stirred it up with my fork. Hang on one sec. So I stirred it in with this fork right here, my potato fork. All right, which is a really nice way of digging up the soil. Alright, if you're going to fluff up your soil, this is the way to go about it. If there were any worms in here, which I'm disappointed to say I did not see any, you might kill a few, but nowhere near the amount you would use with a mechanical rototiller or tiller of some sort. So this is a much more soil-friendly way of going about tilling the soil. Now, do you have to till your soil? No, not necessarily, but I think for corn it's best. Now, I grew up in Kansas, and a lot of people grew corn, and they always tilled the soil before they planted their corn. All right. So the other thing is, the reason I'm planting it this early, I've got a friend of mine who grows corn every year, does it very well, and he usually plants it fairly early. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and plant it early. The other thing you need for corn is some sort of fence, at least here where I'm at. If you're in the Northeast Florida, Jacksonville area, one of the things we get a lot of this time of year is geese. And geese love baby corn. Right? I've had several years where basically the geese ate all the corn before it managed to grow and get big. So that's what I've done to prep it. One, I got a fence around it to keep the geese out. Two, I put some compost in the soil. Three, I've loosened it all up with a potato fork. And I'm going to rake it out real quick, and we're going to get to planting. One more rake job. Now, you don't have to have it level, but one of the things to keep in mind anytime you're planting anything is what's going to happen with the rain. All right, so if you have a mound in the middle, like this garden bed here is a little bit mounded, but we have very sandy soil, so it's not going to make as big a difference. But if you have heavier, more clay soil, the water runs off of more than it soaks in, then you could actually run into problems with certain parts of the garden getting watered more than others. All right, or basically getting more water to soak in than others. If I have a nice mound like this, the water's going to run off the top and soak in more on the sides. Now, that can be to your advantage if you plant accordingly, knowing that you're not going to have as much moisture in the soil at the top of the crown. Some people say it gives you more space, but it's not that much more space. All right, so you can go mounded, but I don't think it's necessary, and I will not be doing that this year. Okay, then what we're going to do is I'm going to stake it out. I'm going to get nice, clean, even rows so I can tell, one, what's corn and what's not, and two, so that I can walk between the rows. All right, so let me go get my stakes. I'll be right back. All right, so I want to show you a couple things. One, any string will do. This is just jute string, a pair of scissors. All right, and then I want to show you my sticks. So basically, I took these sticks here and I cut them off of a mulberry tree. Now, I used them to line up my garlic. That's what it was. I used them to line up the garlic. And interestingly enough, if you look closely, you can see they're starting to grow right here. Right here, another one right there, right in this area here, another one down here. So they're actually starting to grow back. And I will tell you that if you have a mulberry tree and you want multiple mulberry trees, cut some sticks off, stick them in the ground, it'll grow. All right, it's a weed. All right, so with that being said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna space them out about a foot apart. I've got 4 feet here. So 1 foot corn, 1 foot corn, 1 foot corn. All right, now I'm gonna leave myself, am I gonna leave myself space? No, because I can reach in and harvest the corn through the corn. All right. So let's go ahead and get this staked out, and then I'll get back with you. All right. So this is some corn that I had from last year. Man, I can't sell. Sell by 12 of 22. So it has to be sold. So it's 2 years old actually. Yeah. So at any rate, we're gonna try it out. We're gonna see how it goes. But this is the corn that I'm doing. It's peaches and cream hybrid sweet corn. Not sure when I got it, but it's the seed that I have. And with my track record so far with corn, I'm not going to go spend a whole lot of money on corn. Now, I did look at the weather. Our average last frost is February 15th. It is now February the 8th, I think, 7th or 8th. And in here, down where I'm at, it says March through August. So I'm pushing it. But I want to get it up early. I'm trying to get a harvest before the bugs really get back. Plus, like I said, my neighbor always starts his early. Well, my neighbor at the other house starts his early and does a real good job with it, Christy. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get it going early and see if it won't grow up. Hopefully between the nice soil and the fence, hopefully I'll have some good luck. And like I said, I've already looked at the weather, and the 10-day forecast is, up in the 50s at night for the most part. I don't anticipate another frost. If it does, well, I'll either have to cover it or I'll just have to start over. All right, get some more corn seed. All right, now it says to plant them spacing 3 foot 12 inches. So 3 foot between the rows and 12 inches between the plants. So I'm going to plant them about every 12 inches, and I'm going to have a foot between the plant. All right, now that's going to make a difficult walk between, but I should be able to reach the corn in the middle from the outsides of the fence, hopefully. All right, so it says 1.5 inches deep. Again, your knuckles on your fingers typically is about 1 inch, so that far and about half. So I don't want to go real deep, but we need about 1.5 inches of soil covering it. All right. So now, the thing for the string, keep in mind the string is not necessary. You don't need the string, but it does make it easier to do a nice straight line. Is what I find. All right. So I like using the string. Like I said, it's a little bit of jute string. It's cheap, or jute twine, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't cost a lot, and it keeps me straight. All right, so like I said, we wanted about 1.5 inches. So what you can do is just kind of push back the soil that's been fluffed up on the side and see whether or not you got 1.5 inches. All right, so I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. We want about 1.5 inches or so, about that deep. A little bit deeper. All right. Yep. Now, does it have to be exact? No, it does not. All right. I can tell you from experience, watching people grow corn in Kansas. All right. It's a bumpy ride when they go through the fields, and you can't get it exact depths. All right, and then like I said, we're going to plant them about 1 foot apart, and I'm going to try and pick the biggest, fattest ones. Put it about 1 foot, and there's one. My feet are about 1 foot. There's one. There's one. There's one. All right, simple as that. I'll put one right here too. All right, and then we'll go along there and do this all the way along the 3 rows of corn, and that should get the job done. All right, I'll be back with you once I get all that knocked out. And once you get it done, you're gonna go ahead and just cover it over with the soil, like so. Make sure you got a nice 1.5 inches or so of soil covering each of the seeds. Now I like to take any chunks of stuff that might be in your soil, take them out, because if not, you're creating a situation where the corn has to grow up through whatever trash is in the way. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and just tap it down lightly. You can do it with your hoe, you can do it with your foot, however you want to go about it. But now corn is a nice solid plant that grows nice and hardy, typically, so it shouldn't have a problem pushing up through a little bit of packed soil. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that's how I go about planting my corn. I haven't had the best of luck with corn, so I may not be the guy to take lessons from, but this is what I want to do, and we'll see how it works out. And I'll show you as time goes on, what we've done. But what I did here, I tilled the soil up good. I put a full wagon load of compost in here. And I've been putting compost on it throughout the year. I went ahead and mulched it all very well and let that mulch sit there and on top of this for 6-8 months. Let the weeds grow up in it, pulled the weeds back out. I tilled it up by hand with my potato fork, and then with another batch of compost in it, so it should be very nutritious soil. But keep in mind now, corn is a very demanding, very nutrient dense plant. It needs a lot of nutrients in order to grow. So hopefully this year we've got enough to actually make it grow and grow well. We'll find out. As time goes on throughout the year, I will be adding some compost, side dressing it with some compost to kind of hopefully keep it growing. But I gotta say, in Kansas, they would plant it, and then I guess they did fertilize it. I don't know, I don't remember so much because I was very young. As I remember, they just planted it in the fields and let it go. But I'm sure they did some more work to it than that. I just don't know. But that's what we're gonna do, and we'll see how it works out. I will get corn. I like having corn on the cob, and then, if you get enough corn, you can go ahead and, strip it down, put it into, like canned in jars and so on, to preserve it for later on. It's just a really nice thing to have. All right, and if I can get this growing, I might expand the operation and get more corn. All right, like I said, I am planting a bit early. It normally says to plant it in March. I'm planting it in the middle of February, beginning of February. Hopefully give it a head start to get it, ahead of the bugs. We'll see if that actually works. I want to say it said 85 days to harvest. Yeah, 83 days to harvest is what the package says. So we'll see how it goes. All right. You're going to have some failures in life, and you're going to have some failures in your garden. Don't let it stop you. Just keep cruising. All right. The last thing I'll leave you with is make sure you water it down real good. And then some housekeeping notes. I know in one of my videos you could hear Hispanic music playing in the background, and one of my comments was, that would drive me crazy. Well, it's a construction site. It's not the neighbors. It's not a problem. They're actually building up. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think 14 or 16 houses, something like that, on a 4-acre lot right behind me. Once that's done, all of that noise will go away. Then all I have to deal with is the airport. But really doesn't bother me. And if you notice or not, my wife is Hispanic, so it's been known to happen that we have listened to that type of music. But either way, that's what we got going on. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe, and let me know what you think. But most importantly, grow something. Maybe see if you can get some corn grown in your backyard. Either way, growing your own food is one of the best ways to save a buck. Thanks again. Y'all come back and see me. And like I said, grow something.